We will show how to use the DAMUL, the optical power checker made by East Photonics. Our product consists of DAMUL, UPM, and SPM. In addition, other accessories such as jumper cords and adapters are available for operations in diverse environmental conditions and various purposes. DAMUL has push-pull button on the right-hand side. With this button, you can turn on and off the device and select transmitting and receiving power level of the loaded SFP. The SFP transmitting and receiving power levels can be checked by pressing push-pull button. By holding push-pull button for 1 to 2 seconds, the device can be turned on or off as well. There is a slide switch on the lower left side of DAMUL with which you can choose between the loop mode and the signal mode. The LED on the front of DAMUL displays the slide switch status. The LED light is green if DAMUL is in loop mode. If DAMUL is in signal mode and SFP is not present, the LED is off. There is a battery charging port on the top of DAMUL. The battery lasts for more than 48 hours when DAMUL is kept on. It takes approximately 3 hours for the battery to be fully charged. Maximum power consumption occurs when SFP is working as a light source transmitting and receiving signals in signal mode. If DAMUL is unused for 5 minutes, it goes into standby mode. The power LED on the front of DAMUL displays the remaining battery life. It turns red if the remaining battery life is less than 10%. The battery charging LED displays the charging status. The LED is red during charging and turns green when charging is complete. There are 2 SFP slots at the bottom of DAMUL. The one on the right corner is to drive SFP, and the other one on the left corner is for safekeeping. The main challenge in terms of network management is to locate fault points. It is not easy to determine what has caused errors. It could be an optical transmission equipment, optical lines, or optical module, SFP. DAMUL can help locate fault points. DAMUL performs 3 main functions: optical power checking, SFP diagnosis, and 1 core SFP loopback. First, we'd like to talk about optical power check function of DAMUL. Power checking function can be categorized into 2 types, depending on the optical termination at the end of an optical line. First case of optical line termination is SFP, and the second is general optical connector type, such as FC, SC, and LC, easily found in wireless repeater and optical multiplexer, demultiplexer. You can check the power of TX and RX by connecting DAMUL directly to SFP if the termination of an optical line is SFP. The measured power value is within the margin of error of 1.5 dB, which is less than the international standard of 3 dB. If the termination of an optical line is a general optical connector, the enclosed UPM module needs to be mounted into the DAMUL's SFP slot first to measure the optical power. The measured power values indicate the received optical power intensity in an optical cable. If both the optical power and the optical wavelengths need to be measured, SPM can be used. Various types of optical adapters and jumper cords are also available to help measurement. We now like to talk about DAMUL's SFP diagnostic function. Diagnostics of SFP is to determine whether SFP is operating normal or not by examining the SFP's transmitting and receiving power value is within normal range. There are two types of SFP, one-core SFP and two-core SFP. Their diagnostic procedures are based on the same principle. First, we will explain the diagnostic procedure for TX power of one-core SFP. Prepare two DAMULs and mount SFP that needs to be diagnosed into the SFP slots on the DAMULs. Upon turning the slide switch to signal mode, DAMUL's red TX signal LED starts flashing. You can check TX power of the loaded SFP by pressing the push-pull button on the upper side, while the red TX signal LED is flashing. The red bar on the display switches to TX power signal on the display on pressing the push-pull button. There are various SFP TX power classes depending on the range, application, and the wavelengths. We suggest the usual SFP TX power level table on DAMUL's backside in order to help you determine whether measured TX power value is normal or not. Connect two SFPs using a jumper code. If the green RX LED and the red TX LED flash at the same time, the SFP transceiver operates normally. Here, you can check the TX power and RX power by pressing the push-pull button alternately. We will explain the diagnostic procedure for two-core SFP. Mount a two-core SFP that needs to be diagnosed to the SFP slot on DAMUL. Upon turning the slide switch to signal mode, the red TX signal LED flashes. Here you can check the TX power of the loaded SFP. Next, connect the TX port and RX port of the SFP with a jumper code. If the green RX LED and the red TX LED flash at the same time, the SFP transceiver operates normally. Here, you can check the TX power and RX power by pressing the push-pull button alternately. Finally, we will talk about the one-core loopback function. When a telecommunication error has occurred, the tracking of the breakdown point to resolve the problem is difficult. In this case, the loopback test is required at each connection line between the equipment, which is usually terminated by interchangeable SFP in the field. Previous two-core SFP had two separate TX and RX ports, and the loopback could be performed with one jumper code. However, most used one-core SFP cannot loop back a signal with one jumper code. DAMUL can help one-core SFP to loop back a signal. First, one-core SFP is mounted to test equipment such as network analyzer or CFP tester. The main site where test equipment is located is facing the remote site through optical line. At the remote site, set the DAMUL to loop mode by turning the slide switch. Here, you can check the TX power and RX power by pressing the push-pull button alternately. Thank you for watching our user guide on the DAMUL. Please feel free to contact East Photonics if you have any questions. Thank you very much.